to raise $400 billion over the next 10 years.
I told members of Congress, Homeland Security Secretary, I'm not sure another show was.
The Republican accounts circulating many of the clips responded, claiming the videos are unedited and promised to keep posting them.
A lie.
And also, just if something is unedited, it's
really
one angle,
lies.
not showing the whole story.
How about this, Elnia? They lie about their lies, which of course you would expect liars to lie about their lies.
Oh.
Was it the president freezing up with former President Obama by his side, or was the former president taking in the crowd, as his supporters have suggested? It's a serious question in light of the president's halting gait at times, but also in the recent wake of right-wing media selectively editing video to claim Mr. Biden wandered off for the G7 summit.
Yeah, I mean, Emily, watching that, it's just, we're all shaking our heads on the couch because, first of all, it looks like these news organizations got their talking points directly from the White House. Mm-hmm. Secondly, as somebody who has spent, my career in the intelligence community, disinformation and misinformation is a real thing Brian and I talk about a lot that we struggle with from Russia, from China, from Iran. In the White House press secretary is cheapening that argument and our ability to persuade people whenever she uses the language. And again, this is because the left has weaponized the intel community. When she uses that language that you would use against an adversarial state, like cheap fakes, like deep fakes, all of these things, whenever she's using it in a political context and it's not true and it's not accurate, it cuts off our ability as people in law enforcement and the intelligence community to actually educate the American people when there is actual misinformation from adversarial states. And on that point, I would finally just say, Emily, general elections, they're binary choices in the United States of America. You are smart individuals. You could look at those videos and say, is this man fit to be president for the next 4 years? I don't think he's fit to be my Uber driver.
I think this is so important to explain. As press secretary, I know how this works. What you're looking at, this footage, Juneteenth, G7, these official events, they come from a pool camera, from network coverage, or a White House feed in some instances. There's not Republican operatives peeking out of the bushes, taping things and then editing it. No, this is official footage. But the White House press secretary, the audacity to stand there and say what you're watching with your own eyes is a cheap fake, essentially saying, this is an antic, this is some sort of disinformation. It's unedited footage.
Things are about to get a little sticky. Things are about to get a little freaky deaky. We're beginning to enter a whole new realm of censorship. They did it a couple years ago. They did it during the pandemic. And now they realize they have to do it again. As I've been saying, there is no way that Dementia Joe can beat Donald Trump in a fair election. Can't happen. And at this point, more and more people are starting to realize it. And so now they're ushering in a new platform, a new idea that they want to make sure that the media follows suit and everybody else is just going to become victim to it, whether we like it or not, including myself. Hopefully not too bad, but it's already begun. I told you guys about some of the censorship stuff, but now we ain't seen nothing yet, is what I said in my post earlier. So before I get into all this censorship stuff, well, I guess this is part of it. When I went to high school, maybe when a bunch of you guys went to high school, you guys and ladies, you read the book 1984. 1984 was a novel written by George Orwell. He wrote it in 1949. He wrote a book that basically is becoming the Democrat manual, operating manual. It's how they are going to basically govern America. They took his book, which I'm sure George Orwell just thought, I'm just going to write a book, see how it goes, see how people receive it. He never understood that it was going to be some sort of dystopian operating manual. And it seems as though somebody in Dementia Joe's campaign, in their war room, has said, you know what? We can take this book and do what it says. We can actually become Orwellian. We can make these people become Orwellian subjects. And there's nothing they can do about it. That's what they think. There's a lot of people out here who aren't going to stand for the crap anymore. But I just want to take you through basically a little bit of background. So we're going to talk about 1984. And this is a Wikipedia reference. I don't usually like Wikipedia, but it's a book, so it can't be too far. It said the book was written in 1949 by George Orwell. What I want to bring your attention to is something right here. It says that Orwell was a staunch believer in Democrat socialism. He was a socialist and a member of the anti-Stalinist left. Not sure what all his political leanings were, but when he wrote this book, I think he was going after the right. I'm not really sure what he was thinking, but he just wanted to talk about the propaganda in Nazi Germany, because more broadly, the novel examines the role of truth and facts within societies and the ways in which they can be manipulated. So I don't really care which side of the aisle he was on. His book foretold a future where that future would be manipulated by the media and the powers that be, whoever it happened to be in control at that time. From that book, I don't know if you remember, there's a quote that's going around right now. And one of those quotes is, I'm going to play in a second, or not play, but show. But the first quote I want to show you, I think is even more impactful than the second quote. The first quote: the further a society drifts from the truth, the more it will hate those who speak it. I think we can take that right now pretty much as political gospel. The further a society drifts from truth, the more it will hate those who speak it. Obviously, that's not really complicated. The more they lie to you, the more they hate you for telling the truth. That's specifically what he was saying. And we're seeing that play out over and over and over. And thank God that Elon Musk bought Twitter, because that's about the last bastion of true free speech that we have as Americans. It's just not available in other platforms. You can't say certain things here. You can't say certain things on Facebook. You can't even say certain things on TikTok. And there are some things that you can't say even on Twitter. Imagine this. We're in 2024. 2024, nearly 80 years after George Orwell wrote that book. And I would never have imagined that we'd be in a position where we can't talk, where we're told by our government and by other people, tech companies, media, that you can't talk, you can't say certain things. And if you do, they'll try and shut you up. Never in my wildest imagination, having grown up, seen the craziness in the 60s and everything that went on during the 60s, and then the laid-back era of the 70s, and now we're just seeing insanity run amok because they're allowing certain people to talk, but not the ones that they want to talk. You see, they're allowing people to talk who aren't telling the truth. They're allowing people to run roughshod over people who want to tell the truth. They want you, they want me, they want many other people to shut up while they just go out there and riot and do all kinds of stupid things. It makes no sense. Now here's the second quote, which I'm sure if you've been paying attention lately in the news, this one's the one that's making the rounds. And it's almost as if the Biden campaign and Biden administration took this quote and said, this is the answer. This is how we get Dementia Joe reelected. Here's that quote. The party, I guess we can say Democratic Party at this point, told you to reject the evidence of your eyes and ears. It was their final, most essential command. Just look at that. Reject the evidence of your eyes and ears, and it was their final, most essential command. Somebody in the White House decided we need to go to a post-truth world. We have to stop this right now. We've got a guy who's sliding, somewhat senile. Everybody can see it. Everybody can hear it. We all can hear what he says. We all can see what happens. And now they're looking right in the camera and telling you what you're seeing, and what you're hearing isn't true. What do you mean? Nope, it's not true. It's just completely made up. It's manipulated by his opponents. It's manipulated by the right wing. It's been manipulated by right-wing media, Trump supporters. It's not true. But I just saw it. I actually saw it with my own eyes. Nope, you're not allowed to believe what you see and hear and take it as real. You're no longer allowed. Period. Final, most essential command. The most final and essential command of Dementia Joe's campaign is that you are not allowed to listen or see what you actually hear and see. That's their final command. That's it. You're done. We're not going to allow that anymore. Don't like it? Too friggin' bad. Deal with it. We're going to make sure at this point we tell you what the message is, and we've got these other cohorts and idiots who are going to force that upon you and tell you that this is what it has to be. Think I'm lying? Well, let's listen to what Miss KJP said yesterday. It was pretty, in case you guys haven't seen it, I'll play it. Hopefully the powers that be won't come down on me. But let's listen to what she said.
There seems to be a sort of rash of videos that have been edited to make the president appear especially frail or mentally confused. I'm wondering if the White House is especially worried about the fact that this appears to be a pattern that we're seeing more often.
Yeah.
Okay, before she answers, you could see that she wasn't concerned about the question. She pretended as though she was looking through something. And if you heard what the guy said, what his actual question was and how he posed it, he lobbed a softball to her that she already knew was coming. He didn't ask a normal question. A lot of people may have missed that. I'm going to play that again, and I want you to listen to what this guy's question is.
There seems to be a sort of rash of videos that have been edited to make the president appear especially frail or mentally confused.
There seems to be a bunch of videos out there that have been edited to make the president seem frail and or weak. I'm sorry, where's your question? You just made a statement. You didn't ask her a question, you made a statement. That statement then, because it's played on all the airways, almost becomes factual. There was no question about his question. She didn't say, what do you mean? No, I don't think people are manipulating this stuff. As a reporter, maybe the question should have been, and would have been very easy, hey, what do you think about these videos that are showing, Dementia Joe looking demented? Maybe not those words. Let me talk in the way a reporter would say. What do you think about these videos where it shows as though Mr. Biden, President Biden, seems to be losing his faculties? That's a question a reporter would ask. A question that a reporter, if he was really interested in writing a story, would be looking for that information. Instead, he teed up a softball that was already preloaded. What do you think about these videos that are being edited and manipulated to show Joe in a certain way? What the hell kind of a question is that? And who said they were manipulated? And who said they were trying to show Joe in a certain way? I'll tell you who did. She did. She told him, probably slipped him a note and said, ask me this question. I'm going to call on you first. It was the first question. She knew it was coming. And then she came up with this stupid answer. And it actually wasn't stupid. She was sending a message.
I'm wondering if the White House is especially worried about the fact that this appears to be a pattern that we're seeing more often.
Yeah, and I think you all have called this the cheap fakes video, and that's.
I haven't heard anybody until she said those words, cheap fake. In fact, I hadn't heard the term cheap fake. I had heard deep fake, which is basically an AI type video. I haven't heard the term cheap fake. She said it so quick so that hopefully people would hear and would resonate as deep fake, but still, they're trying to say it's fake. What I put on the side here, just so you can recognize, on the top is the video that pissed everybody off in the Dementia Joe campaign. And then on the bottom is the video that was took from the feed of the event. And you're going to notice something in the difference of those two videos. One of them, the one on top, shows the actual incident that occurs, and the one on the bottom conveniently cuts away. They didn't think anybody would be there to catch the top one. But you can listen to her and see what's going on.
Exactly what they are. They are cheap fakes video. They are done in bad faith. And some of your news organization.
Okay, right there. You see how the bottom one cut away? And she's saying it's being done in bad faith. What she didn't understand that there was somebody or multiple people in the audience filming at the same time. They didn't know that that video had gotten out. The one on the bottom was actually put out by the Biden-Harris campaign. I left the logo in at the end so you could see it, but it was put out by the Biden-Harris campaign. They conveniently cut away the camera too, so you can't see what's happening on the stage. They didn't know that there was somebody with an alternative shot that shows you exactly what happened.
Have been.
Boom. There's the hand grab. There's Obama reaching over to Dementia Joe and saying, hey, dude, follow me. Let me get you out of here. If you look at the bottom feed, there's nothing there. They're not showing you that. So as you're listening to her meander and talk, watch the bottom and top feed, and you can see the difference.
And very clear, have stressed that these right-wing critics of the president have a credible.
Did you notice that quick cut? All you're seeing on the bottom screen was that they're both walking off. You didn't see the grab, only on the top screen.
Ability problem because of the fact checkers have repeatedly caught them pushing misinformation.
The fact checkers. Who are the fact checkers? Who's checking the fact checkers? Who's fact checking the fact checkers? Because we can't trust them. I showed you a Wikipedia page. That was easy. That was just 1984. But they're out there everywhere editing everything they possibly can to change what actually happens. They do it on the fly. So who's checking the fact checkers?
Disinformation. And so we see this, and this is something coming from your part of the world, calling them cheap fakes and misinformation. And I'll quote the Washington Post, where they wrote.
The Washington Post. Here's another just creme de la creme of media excellence there, aren't they?
About this, and they said how Republicans use misleading videos to attack Biden in a 24-hour period. And to their credit, we have a conservative Washington Examiner did call them out as well, calling out the New York Post. Ironically, several recent cheap fakes actually attacked the president for thanking troops. That is what they're attacking the president for.
No, they're not.
Both in Normandy, this happened, and again in Italy. And I think that it tells you everything that we need to know about how desperate.
Desperate. She says the Republicans and Trump are desperate. Who's desperate, KJP? Who's the one who's getting spanked in the polls? It's not the Republicans.
Desperate Republicans are here. Instead of...
And she can just say that with a straight face, and there's nobody in the audience raising their hand going, ooh, what do you mean? Nope, just say whatever you need to say. Because at this point, we are in a post-truth world.
Talking about the president's performance in office, and what I mean by that is his legislative wins, what he's been able to do for the American people across the country.
Well, maybe you should tell the American people what these legislative wins are, because nobody knows. A legislative win hasn't helped anybody get cheaper gas, hasn't helped anybody get cheaper groceries, hasn't helped anybody get better mortgage rates. So what legislative wins are you talking about? Notice I'm asking those questions because the reporters never do.
We're seeing these deep fakes, these manipulated videos, and it is, again, done in bad faith.
She put the word out there in the press conference, and then dutifully, the press began to basically follow suit. Shortly thereafter, we get this from NBC News. misleading GOP videos, so they've labeled them GOP videos, of Biden are going viral. The fact checks have trouble keeping up. So once again, you've got now the media beginning to blame people. Hey, the GOP, that nasty GOP, they're out there giving out fake videos, and we don't want that to happen. And then we have the AP, the Associated Press, claim Biden froze on stage during his fundraiser in Los Angeles on Saturday night and had to be led away by Obama. The facts: Biden paused amid cheers and applause as he exited the stage with his predecessor following an interview moderated by late-night host Jimmy Kimmel. A source who helped organize and attended the fundraiser told the AP that there was nothing noteworthy about this moment and that Obama wanted to be chummy by walking off stage with Biden. Louis Kay, a spokesperson for Kimmel, called the claims spreading online, quote, nonsense. Attendees in the front row were shouting at him, and President Biden was trying to hear them. He wrote in an email to the AP, "It's as simple as that. Don't you understand at this point? You are not allowed to use your eyes and ears." It was the party's final, most essential command. And in a post-truth world, the further a society drifts from truth, the more it will hate those who speak it. Orwell wrote a fortune cookie. He was a soothsayer. He was able to basically see the future. Didn't even know it at the time, that he was basically looking into the future. And that's what he has specifically done. So, right after that, let's see where MSNBC, another, post-truth media outlet. Listen to this crap.
Growing and insidious trend in right-wing media, broadcast, print, and social media. It is to take highly misleading and selectively edited videos of
selectively edited, highly misleading videos, and she went as far as to name everything. Newspapers, media, television, and social media. It's everywhere, okay? So don't believe anything you see or hear, because we're telling you, you can no longer use your own eyes and ears to understand what's going on. It's all fake because we tell you it's fake. You don't have any choice in this matter. It's fake. We told you it's fake. Now shut up and deal with it. Yeah, that's what they're saying at this point.
President Biden directly from Republican National Committee social media accounts.
She's saying that the video was put out by the RNC. Wrong. That bottom video was put out by the Biden-Harris campaign. That top video was taken by people in the audience. That person who took that video in the audience posted it on Twitter. Then the RNC, people like me, people across Twitter, people across YouTube, they grabbed it and said, oh, here it is. The RNC wasn't the source. She lied right there. She had to have known she was lying. She didn't care. We live in a post-truth world. No longer can you believe your eyes and ears. We're going to tell you what truth really is.
And then use those videos to spread messages virally to cast doubt on President Biden's fitness for office. Here is this headline from the New York Post. Quote, Biden appears to freeze up, has to be led off stage by Obama at Megabucks LA fundraiser.
That is what it is. That is how it goes. Right now, you, me, everybody on YouTube are going to be subject to a censorship campaign of epic proportions. Need more proof? Okay. Let me show you what YouTube posted today. This, I looked at it as being a YouTuber and went, oh, you got to be kidding me. You got to be kidding me. Look at this. What is a bridging-based algorithm, and how will YouTube be using it to try and ensure viewer notes are broadly helpful? So what they're going to begin doing is put notes on videos. Hey, what you're seeing here isn't exactly true. Sorry, we just want to let you know our fact checker said, it ain't real. Notes, quote, will appear publicly under a video if they found to be broadly helpful. People will be asked whether they think a note is helpful, somewhat helpful, or unhelpful, and why. For example, whether it cites high-quality sources. What's a high-quality source? Okay. Or unhelpful, and why. For example, or is written clearly and neutrally. Neutrally. How in the hell, in a political year, can you write a neutral story? How can you, as a reporter, a television network, post anything that is neutral? You are no longer allowed to have an opinion. Basically, make your video and you can say Dementia Joe had a blue suit on, but don't give your opinion as the suit looked wrinkled. Neutral. We're clipping your you-know-what. We just want it a certain way, and these people are going to be able to put notes on your videos. From there, we'll use what's called a bridging-based algorithm to consider these ratings and determine what notes are published. A bridging-based algorithm, so now back to 1984, Big Brother, now there's going to be an algorithm to determine if it's a real source and if it's neutral. This will help identify notes that are helpful to a broad audience across perspectives. It's got to meet both sides. If many people who have rated notes differently in the past now rate the same note as helpful, then our system, Big Brother, is more likely to show that note under video. These systems will continuously improve, i.e., as the algorithm is fed by these notes. The only way a system, an algorithm, AI, can improve is based upon things being fed into it. As more notes are written and rated across a broad range of topics. And then they include a picture of what it's going to look like. Here's a video, 15 extinct animals you should know. The viewers added a note. Some species of the giant tortoise were thought to be extinct. Did you ask to hear that from these people? So this guy, whoever, puts up a video about 15 extinct animals you should know, and the viewer added a note. And he starts talking about the Galapagos Islands and what was found in 2019 on Fernandina Island, above even the comments. So what you're going to see, don't know when, but you're going to begin seeing notes on videos that they deem not being neutral or not being from a highly credible source that the AI will determine. What videos do you think are going to get the notes and which ones aren't? Pretty easy to understand which ones are going to get the notes, won't you? Pretty simple. The party that told you to reject the evidence of your eyes and ears, that was their final, most essential command. They are telling you straight up where we're headed in America. Actually, it's where we already are. The further a society drifts from truth, the more it will hate those who speak it. Truth out the window. Our AI, our opinion, our government will tell you what truth is and will tell you what opinion you should have. It was an edict from the White House, and basically instantly the media picked up, understood what their marching orders were, and they ran with it.
Anyway.
The only editing on this video are the cuts. Everything in this video is specifically what he actually has done in public. Like I've said in one of my videos, Trump doesn't need a campaign ad. Trump just needs to just play this stuff on a loop and just let people hear it. But you're no longer allowed to use your eyes and your ears. It's not what we want you to know. And so, Barry, you may get a note on this video because we don't know if you're a credible source or not, and it's not neutral. I'm just showing you what this guy's doing.
Well, maybe choose my words. I was just thinking, anyway.
Anyway, I'm just going to show you specifically what he said. But it's going to piss people off because you're not allowed to show that. It's deep fake. It's whatever, cheap fake. No, it's not. It's actual clips, cuts, unedited of what he said.
Putin's kleptocracy. Yeah. It was in January.
All of this is fake. None of it is true. He didn't do this. Whatever you're seeing right now, whatever you're hearing, it's not true. We can no longer just even accept that this is true because I'm not a credible source. And that guy is much more on the ball. Everybody has told us in private he's on the ball.
After being elected, the late January, early February. He said, it's not, we lead, not just, well, I won't go into it. Here's what drives the driver in the states that are affected. Here's what you can do, the drivers. For two reasons. One,
it's all fake. He didn't do this. It's what you're seeing isn't true. This is manipulated.
It's an impact that decades are making because inaction was there was inaction with the Department of from Charlotte, another line going from in Florida down to Tampa. The best way to get something done, if it holds near and dear to you that you like to be able to,
anyway, but we're no longer supposed to believe it. We're no longer supposed to look at that and think it's true anymore. Nope, you're not allowed to. Well, at this point, some of the media has begun to push back. I want to show you this one from Martha. Martha's basically suffering no fools right now. Martha's like, I'm going to call it like it is, and I'm going to tell you what actually happens.
White House now facing widespread backlash after claiming that the media is manipulating videos to make the president appear frozen or frail or at times mentally confused. We're going to show you 3 specific videos from just within the last week that the White House is referring to here. These have not been cropped. They have not been sped up or slowed down or edited in any way. Let's go through them one by one.
You know it's bad when Dementia Joe lets Kamala Harris's husband look like he's got rhythm. I mean, he must have looked at Joe and went, I don't look that bad. I'm doing the Seinfeld, what's her name, Elaine dance on Seinfeld with all the black people around here jamming, but I don't look as bad as that dude over there.
That's the Juneteenth celebration at the White House. And here is the president last week standing very still at a White House celebration, while everybody around him is dancing.
I almost can't blame him for that one. Can we give him a pass for that one? Maybe. I mean, he was frozen, didn't look like he knew where he was whatsoever, but man ain't got no rhythm, so ain't nothing you can do about that. But like I said, Kamala's husband was kind of trying to, do some kind of jam. He was so out of his place, and what's with the guy with the beard and the dress? Can't go there. I won't.
And here he is. This one is from 3 days later.
All right, so this one. Joe's already in a different world. He's already looking at these guys with the smile like they're delivering ice cream in parachutes. And all the other people, all the other world leaders are all standing there with their eyes on the prize. This is what we're supposed to do. And the first person that kind of looks like, what's going on, is the lady in the blonde hair to the right. I think she's like the European Union leader, whatever. She kind of looks over and goes, what's this guy doing? Okay, so she looks too. But now she looks at Joe and goes, dude, where you going? Where are you going? That's my eyes. I can see her. I can see her look at him go, oh, hey, man, don't, hey, oh, yeah, he's off on his own. And she just starts clapping and she's like, oh, what do we do now? So now the prime minister from Italy, who's behind the guy in a parachute, I don't know if she took a cue. I don't know if she was, got a little tip under the table or whatever, where somebody said, can you keep an eye on our kindergartner, our president who's masquerading, our kindergartner who's masquerading as a president? Because watch her come moonwalking back into Joe like nobody was supposed to notice. Okay, that lady's like, hey, we supposed to do something? That one, her and Macron were both like, yeah, I don't know what we're supposed to do with him. So here comes, Macron looks at Moroni and says, you got this? She's like, yeah, I'm a mom. Okay, here we go. She turns her back, and now she comes in with the Michael Jackson moonwalk, just sliding back. Come on, babe. There you go, girl. There you go. Just slide back. Make it look like no big deal. Turn your sorry ass around and look at the camera. That's our world leader. That you just saw yourself. There was nothing really to hear because there wasn't really anything other than the choppers or whatever it is, the blades of the helicopter. But you saw with your own eyes. This woman had to come from the other side. She came from stage left and had to moonwalk to stage right for the sole purpose. There was no other reason for her to change position. Somebody told her, go get him. That's a question I would have asked KJP. I would find someone who'd do a press conference with Maloney here. Hey, what made you scoot across the stage here and go get him? Did somebody tell you in advance to watch out for him? Nobody's asked that question. How did she know that he was going to be in trouble? You just wouldn't think of that. You just wouldn't come to your mind and senses and go, you know what, let me keep an eye. Oh shit! I got boy. Let me go get him. They told me to watch out for him. Who are we doing a favor for? Who slipped you a note and said, "Can you keep an eye on Granddad over here?" Because she went and got him.
Okay, so something else draws his attention. It appears he wanders away from the other G7.
See, look where she is. She's all the way on the other side, paying attention to the parachuter. Joe's the only one heading off. How did she know?
Leaders during a skydiving demonstration gives a thumbs up to.
Okay, right there. Did she look at somebody who said, hey, go get him? What? Go get him. Because she's staring off right now.
Some others
and
who
her
have
next
landed
move,
in
and there she goes. She got the cue from somebody. No one's talked about that on the news. I picked up on that. Is that fake? Did I make that up? I don't know, but I saw her look over here. I saw her specifically look, and then she took off. Somebody said, go get him, please.
Nearby area.
And here she comes.
But then Giorgia Meloni, Italy's prime minister, goes over and sort of pulls him back to the G7 leaders group, where they're about to hear something from the jumper, who then speaks to them.
Did you see that? You're not supposed to. You can't believe your eyes anymore. But you saw her look over in this direction, and after she looked over in this direction, she did the boot scoop boogie and went after in reverse and went to go get Joe.
And here he is 2 days after this.
Okay, so right here on the right, you see the feed from the Biden-Harris campaign, and on the left, you see the actual video. See how they just cut? They cut it so you couldn't see the grab. These are time synced. It's the exact same video. You can see as they're walking. It's step for step. There's no editing here.
And you can see the former President Obama kind of taps him on the hand, puts his hand over the current president's hand.
And they cut their feed. They didn't want people to see him walk all the way off the stage. They cut it. Somebody else had another camera and showed the entire, walk and everything.
And kind of pulls a little bit. You can see that quite clearly. And then he has his hand on his back as the president slowly leaves the stage. He's kind of gearing him towards the exit area.
Okay, see, they cut. I just wanted to make sure I pointed this out so you can see. They cut away because they got the feed and they said, oh, second, shit, cut it, pull back. Pull back. Yeah, pull it back. We don't want people seeing this. We don't want this getting out. Why?
Where they're going. So the White House...
Boom. I can tell you right now, as a man, I have never reached out and grabbed another man's hand and said, we need to go this way. You're a grown-ass man. I don't care if you stand there all night. You want to stand there? You're the President of the United States. Stand there. If it was just to get applause and people were cheering for you, I'm fine. I'm going to head backstage to the green room, get something to eat. Joe's going to hang out and talk to the crowd. Why would you ever have had to take him off the stage? Another question the press will never ask. Why did Obama feel the need to reach down and grab his hand? If the guy was in all his faculties, if he knew exactly what he was doing, where he was going, what time he needed to be, where he needed to go, you could have just walked off. It was his party. This was a Biden-Harris fundraiser. It was not an Obama fundraiser. Hey, Barack, you want to take off? Go ahead and leave. Why did you feel the need that you had to grab Joe's hand? Nobody's asked that question. Couldn't Joe have just stayed out there, jammed to the music, signed some autographs, kissed some babies, high-five some people, then run off? Could he do that on his own? Why did you feel the need to grab a grown-ass man's hand and say...
I guess wants you to believe that these things are faked, that they're not actually happening, but we just played these sections for you in full. Brett Baer, Anchor Special Report. Brett, good to see you. Obviously, good morning. Obviously, we're at a very intense moment here in this campaign, just 5 months out. There's a big debate happening next week. And the White House is, I think, making a very concerted effort to try to throw cold water on these things that are getting attention, not just...
Debate. From what you've seen, not just in the last 5 or 6 days, how in the hell is this guy going to do a debate? What kind of drugs are they going to have to pump him up with for him to do a debate in basically 9 days? I don't see how it's possible unless all of this is a ruse and he's trying to basically, get everybody to let their guard down, and he's actually faking it, and he's actually, on it. He's on it. I'm just going to let these guys think I'm not ready. So when they all come in, they're going to let their guard down. I'm going to hammer Trump in 9 days. Yeah. Okay, you've been running this routine for too long. Your Charlie McCarthy thing with Obama's hand up your butt. How in the hell are they going to do a debate? No wonder Trump is saying, you got to drug test this guy. And then we got to pull on his skin to make sure that, there's no deep fake mask, that he's not that AI Manchurian candidate. Because what we're seeing would tell any person with a brain, this ain't gonna go well.
From the media, but, from regular folks all over social media as well.
Yeah, Bill and Martha, I think that this is fascinating. I think it shows the extent to which the age issue and really the competency issue for President Biden is surfacing in polls, not just...
Oh, it's surfacing in polls, all right. They're starting to see, again, the same data that we're seeing, but we're not supposed to believe that it's real data. He's getting... I did my video yesterday on the new black voter data. If you haven't seen it, please go ahead and click on that yesterday. But he's down 40 points in the black market. 40 points. There's a little snippet about it coming up here, but he's down. You can't make up those numbers. When I say make up, you can't come back from. It's over. Barry, how can you? It's over. I'm saying it, unless they find a way to let the newcomers vote or completely rig it, it's over. Smoke the cigar, get the champagne chilled. There is nothing they can do about this at this point, except shenanigans.
Just in Republican critics' corners, but independents. They're not going to go down this very detailed defense saying it's deep fakes or cheap fakes. There was nothing fake about former President Obama reaching over to President Biden's wrist and kind of tugging him to go.
How? How are they telling us it's fake? Are they saying your perception of it is fake? Then you're saying, hey, listen, how you took it isn't how it was. Well, you could argue that because everybody has their own perception. But again, that's using our eyes and ears. If we can see it, you're trying to tell us what we saw isn't what really happened. That's not really how it works. Well, I guess George Orwell found a way.
It wasn't fake when the Italian prime minister reached out to say, hey, come back over here. Now, you could characterize it that, if you didn't mention that President Biden was turning to the other parachuter had landed and gave a thumbs up, and that wasn't part of the story, fine. You could say that that's not characterizing the full context. But as the video itself shows, those people did grab the president. I think.
So what's interesting to me, and I think we all have to watch out for it. Today's only the 18th, right? 18th. We have 9 days until the debate. What are they going to do with him for the next 9 days? He's in the middle of a presidential campaign. Are they going to just keep him in a box for 9 days so that he doesn't do any more of this stuff? Because they can't stop it at this point. They can't. I mean, if he goes out in front of a microphone, he can't deal with the teleprompter, blah, 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 whatever he's going to say. You're going to see him take the deep sip and try to suck because maybe his dentures aren't tight enough. We can see it with our own eyes. What are they going to do for 9 days to keep this guy without looking like he's sliding even further?
The dancing one, maybe he doesn't like to dance. It looked like he was frozen there. But I think that the explanation by the White House that they're accusing the video of somehow being altered is really stunning in this moment when it's such a big issue in this election.
It's a real big issue in this election. Huge.